Hello, my name is Alex McMichael, and this is where I document my journey on becoming a multimillionaire. Today, we're going to talk about two things: the hook, story, offer framework, and the fact that you don't have to be an expert to be an expert. One of the biggest things that I hear from new entrepreneurs is that I'm not an expert. What do I have to offer? And the thing is, you have a lot to offer. And the matter of the fact is, you actually don't have to be that far ahead of your core customer or who you're helping to still be able to help them. Frank Abignale, crazy con artist. If you haven't heard about him, basically when he was a teenager, he conned a bunch of people into believing he was an airline pilot, a doctor, a professor. And eventually, he got caught and went to jail. But dude's a teenager, and he's convincing people he's like in these three really highly educated, like difficult spaces to get into. And once he got caught, they like while he was on the run, he spent an entire semester teaching a psychology class, I believe. No one questioned him. He taught the entire class, and it went off without a hitch. And so he was a barely high school educated kid who was teaching college educated students as their professor. And he by no means was an expert, probably hadn't even studied that at all before he taught it to other people. And that's kind of where this idea of you don't have to be an expert to be an expert comes from. After he got caught, they asked him, like, how did you teach all these people something that you don't know, haven't never learned? And his secret sauce was, I don't have to know the material. I just have to be one chapter ahead of the students, which that's easy to do. And so you can place yourself as an expert in your business or anything else without knowing full knowledge. And in fact, there's this curve that you end up going on the journey to becoming an expert. It's first, you're overconfident because you know little to nothing, and so you think you know everything. Then you start to learn a little bit more, and you realize just how vast like the topic is, and like the very specifics, and just the fact that you are aware of those things makes you more of an expert. But that's where this idea, like the identity of imposter syndrome, creeps in. Is because although you don't know everything about an entire space, very little people do. But what you know is likely something that other people don't. And that's where you can come in as an expert in wherever place you're at. It's that you don't have to struggle with that imposter syndrome, because to the layman's person, you know more things. And I had to struggle with that a lot. Just as a software engineer in a space with just like really genius people, I don't think that I'm any smarter than any one of them. In fact, I feel like sometimes that I'm the dumbest person in the room. Yet I'm in charge of software engineers, and I have credentials to back myself up. But like I continue to say, it's just a paper. Like it doesn't really translate into like whether you're good at your job or not, or whether you can do certain things. It's just a paper that says I know how to learn. That's all it is. And the higher degree you get, the more learnable you are. But there's this weird dichotomy that the higher echelon you get, the less teachable you are, because you think you have these credentials and you're better than everyone, when it's not true. It's just a piece of paper. There's high school graduates and high school dropouts that probably make more money than you. So you don't have to be an expert to be an expert. You don't need credentials. You don't need the papers. You just need to be one chapter ahead. You just need to be a little bit ahead of the person that you're helping. And that's not even to say that the person that you're helping can't help you, because you're just ahead of them in this one specific topic, where they could be, years and ages ahead of you on some other topic that they've personally dived into. Okay, wrapping that up, you don't need to be an expert to be an expert. You just got to be one chapter ahead. And so just be that one chapter ahead. And the way you do that is by doing. It's not by reading. You could read 100 million books. You're not going to retain it, and you're not going to know how to put it into practice unless you're doing the things, which is where we're moving next. So Russell Brunson has this really, really big idea, like this framework for copy and marketing called hook, story, offer. Okay, hook is literally any tool you can use to grab someone's attention. Social media today, right now, it's like videos, images, and it's very hard to create a hook in a newspaper, but you could do it in a social media post. The thing is those things are relatable because it's going to be text. Newspaper has been able to use images for a long time, and they often do. The front pages of their articles often contain an image that's like, it piques your attention, then you decide if it's valid for you or not. So that's a very small bit of it. Then the center, and this is the core piece. This is going to be the major chunk of like what you're actually writing to engage your customer is the story. And this is the point where you have levers to pull to increase the perceived value of the eventual offer. And so if I'm trying to advertise something, first I need to get their attention, get you to stop scrolling, get you to quit, so you stop long enough that I can grab your attention and pull you in. And storytelling is a great way to do this because our brain naturally wants to know what's next happening in the story. And the thing you can do in your story is increase the perceived value of whatever you're offering. So for a coding boot camp or any boot camp in general, like this could be a workout boot camp, you can increase the perceived value by like talking about the pain it took to create whatever you're offering, or the pain you had to endure before you realized like this is what needed to change. And so he also has this really big piece called his Epiphany Bridge, and it's a story that like you tell how personally like what it took for you to realize like this was the problem and this is what I needed to fix. And so first you have to have the problem, and then you have to have a guide or a mentor, and you don't have to follow that even specifically, but it's, you have an issue, you're trying to fix it, you can't fix it, it sucks, it's taking you X amount of time to fix it, and then some outside force comes in and shows you the fact that what you're doing needs to change, like it's not actually that great. And then you go into, okay, like what's the journey to find the right thing then? And sometimes that's the mentor, like just like, look, this is what I'm doing that's working, so now you try it. And then guess what? In the story, you try it, and it works great. It works amazing. And that's what you want to use now to offer to your customer. And the cool idea about that is you can transform like the product offering from just like buy my lotion to, or in the case of our business, like buy this body oil. It turns into the whole story of the pregnant person and what they have to go through. And if you using a story of like you're like, in the case of the face of our company, it's the story of them going through what they had to endure. Like 9 out of 10 women get stretch marks on their belly or somewhere on their body when they're pregnant, and with each subsequent pregnancy, it becomes more and more likely. And so that's the pain point. You got to talk about that. Like, in this context, I, as a mother, got, all these stretch marks and it's awful. And it's because I didn't know. It's because the products out there aren't helpful. And so I have this scarring that I can never get rid of. But luckily for me, I had this guide mentor who showed me like, this is the process so that this doesn't happen. And guess what? It doesn't just work in pregnancy. You can use it afterwards. And then that's when you bring in, okay, like this is the system. You do step 1, step 2, step 3, and then you bring in the products or things that you're going to sell to them to give them that success. And so instead of just offering like, buy my body oil, you're saying, hey, this is this really cool process that it took me and I was able to utilize so that I don't have XYZ pain point that person is having. And that's all I got for today. Thank you for watching. We will see you again tomorrow.